Here, where's Robbie? Aaron, you're my wife, aren't you?
Okay, fellas, you ready? Hands forward.
Reading from the book of Genesis. The Lord took Abram outside and said, "Look up to heaven and count the stars in the sky. Such will be the descendants of Abram." Abram put his faith in Yahweh, who found this as making him justified. "I am Yahweh," said he, "who brought you out of the Ur of the Chaldeans to give you heirs of the land." "My Lord Yahweh," Abram replied, "how am I to know that I shall inherit it?" He said to him, "Get me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young chicken." He brought him all his meat, cut them in half, and put one half on one side, and half facing it on the other. But the birds he did not cut in half. Birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them off. Now the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep and perished in sleep. When the sun had set and the darkness had fallen, there appeared a smoking furnace and a fire red that went between the heads. That day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
God let Abram see into the plan for a chosen people.
What did God tell Abram about the plan for a chosen people?
God told Abram that his descendants were picked to be the chosen people.
If Abram's descendants were going to become the chosen people, how was that plan going to work out?
God made an agreement with Abram, an agreement that would help the plan to work.
What was in the agreement?
God promised to look after the chosen people, to keep them safe and protect them from harm. And God backed up the agreement with special signs.
How did God back up the agreement with special signs?
God said to Abram, Get me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Cut them in half, except for the birds, and lay them out with a passage between the halves.
Why did God ask Abram to make those arrangements?
When leading people of the time wanted to put their names to an agreement, they cut animals into halves, made a passage between the halves, and walked together between the halves. That made the agreement binding. The leaders had in this way given their word. They had walked the halves. Everyone watched the leaders walking the halves. After that, the leaders couldn't go back for their agreement.
How did God walk the halves in agreement with Abram?
A smoking fire pot and a flaming torch went between the halves.
What was the meaning of the smoking fire pot and the flaming torch going between the halves?
That extraordinary happening showed everyone that God was solemnly bound to the agreement with Abram. People call the agreement God's covenant with Abram. It was the first part of God's plan for a chosen people. After the covenant was made, God's God changed Abram's name to Abraham.
Responsorial psalm can be found on page 18.
Bathed in a light as if all the goodness of God was concentrated in him and was flowing around him. It was a vision from God. Moses and Elijah, the great prophets, also appeared in the vision with Jesus.
What did Peter, James, and John make of it?
They knew it was God's doing. They also heard a voice saying, "This is my son, the chosen one. Listen to him." They were convinced that God was showing them who Jesus really was.
You mean the Messiah?
His disciples believed that he is the Messiah, come to save our people from their sins and lead them into God's glory.
Michael Wachowski. Damien DeChurch. Sean Lockwood. John Noble. Brian Murphy. Charles Sargent. George Wilkie. Gino DeSantis. Ian Root. Tony Siastro. Robert Stock. Jimmy Cornetta. John Piper. Mark Weeks.
These young members of our parish have asked to carry out the ministry of server during our liturgical celebrations. They have prepared themselves for many weeks through study, practice, and prayer, and they are now ready to be called to serve at God's holy table.
Thank you, Father Joe, for the work you have done to prepare these servers for their important task. In the name of all the members of our parish community, I am pleased to call them to serve at the altar. I invite everyone present to show their approval and support by applause. Before these convicts receive the surplice, the symbol of their office as an altar boy, it is necessary for them to state their intention.
Dear candidates, it will be your duty as an altar boy to assist the priest at God's high altar, to aid God's people in prayer, and set an example of holiness in your own life. And so, do you promise to be faithful and punctual in the performance of your duties as a server at God's altar?
I do.
Do you promise to keep your personal appearance as is fitting to an acolyte of God's altar?
I do.
Do you promise to behave outside of church in a manner that will make all proud to have you as their representative in the holy sanctuary of God? Do you promise to set a good example to others by helping your parents, teachers, and classmates whenever you can? Do you promise to pray daily to Jesus and to Mary, that you may know and have the strength to follow God's will in your own life? The candidates will now come forward and receive the symbol of their office, the surplice.